Sonic Forces deserves a remake.
What?
I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions right now, but the biggest one's probably, why Forces? Why not another game like 06 or Heroes? And yeah, these games could be seeing a remake in due time. But I think that a remake of Forces first would not only be easier, but also better. I think an overhaul of this game's poorly handled concepts, for lack of better terms, would completely change people's perception of Forces as a whole, and might even put it in the same category as Generations when it comes to the boost formula. And because Sonic Team staff has grown a lot since 2017, I think the things that I'm suggesting aren't too big of an ask. But anyways, let's get to the herring surprise and potatoes.
What's the surprise?
First of all, we've got to fix this atrocious gameplay. Let's start with probably the easiest of the three characters to fix, Modern Sonic. Don't worry, Classic Sonic will get to you, trust me. Now, I actually think the overall physics for Modern Sonic are fairly good. You've got the boost, obviously, which feels really fast, the stomp, which actually is incorporated into a couple of stages, and the double jump, which replaces the homing dash. I think for what Force's level design is, these physics actually fit in pretty well. However, there are still some problems. For one, the homing attack only works when you're directly facing an enemy, so if you're even slightly off center, you can't do it. So to start, we'll tweak it to function like the rest of the boost games. Also, there's a problem with the boost jump. With it, you can skip over a lot of platforming, but without it, the game's dull level design sticks out even more. I think the best solution here is to keep it, but make the level design fit with it. Things like alternate paths that can only be reached with a well-timed boost jump. And in general, there should be more than one alternate pathway in said spot in the stage, and at least one that cuts your time significantly. And to add on to the boost, just make it harder to get. With how easy boost is to obtain most of these stages, you're hardly ever going to run out, like I've mentioned in another video. Stages like Network Terminal and Egg Gate give a glimpse into what this could play like, but it's never fully realized. It's actually quite a simple fix too. What you're going to want to do is select some of these whisk capsules and hit the delete button. I would say to take away the boost granted from enemies, but actually, yeah, take away the boost granted from enemies. Matter of fact, just get rid of these long stretches of boosting through enemies and replace them with something just a little more engaging. If Unleashed can pull off these long corridors, then so can Forces. And please, for my sake, incorporate the slide, really just anywhere, I don't care, I want to slide. But really, that's all for Modern Sonic. I'll get to the stage lengths in a bit after I talk about the Avatar and Classic Sonic. The Avatar is so painfully boring and irrelevant to the plot that I almost don't want to include them. But as they're basically the main selling point of the game, let's make them better. First up, add more paths that don't need a Wispin to get to. The amount of wisps that are littered in these stages is embarrassing, and it makes these stages feel lazy. Add some paths that can be reached with some well built up speed and a double jump. Speaking of the double jump, why isn't this a move with all animals? If you're not going to give it to everyone, at the very least give the homing dash to the rest. Back to Wispins, maybe add an upgrade that lets the player switch between two of them in a stage. And please, for the love of God, do something about those grappling hook sections. It's so boring to just watch the Avatar swing from them. A great way to improve these would be to literally just copy what Sonic Forces Overclock did, where when you let go of the zipline determines how far you go. This could also be used to add more pathways. And yes, grappling hook sections include these small parts in Prison Hall. Please just add the drift at that point. One more thing, fix that awful homing attack delay. I mean, sure, it's not bad as Frontiers, but when you have a Sonic who has the snappiest homing attack in the series in the same game, it feels really slow in comparison. And a quick pause, if you want to support me, make sure to like and subscribe, maybe hype this video, so I can make more of these for you guys. Anyways, back to the gameplay. Classic Sonic. Why is he here? I mean, I don't know, it worked a couple of years ago. There's no reason for this guy to be here. Unlike the Avatar, he literally serves no purpose to the story. His gameplay is awful, please just get rid of him, nobody would notice. Or give him Superstars physics. Or Generations physics, I really don't care, his physics in this game is awful, anything would be an improvement. And maybe give him a longer duration for invincibility and speed shoes. And give him a Chaos Zero boss battle. And give him his Superstars model. And give him his Superstars animations. And make his stages more vibrant like Superstars. Basically, just take Superstars and put it into Forces. Anyways, there's one more thing I wanted to touch on for gameplay. And it's the thing that's talked about most when it comes to Forces' stages. The length. Most of them end right when they get interesting, so that's something we'll need to fix. The best way to have longer stages is to get rid of some of the 26 short stages, not including bosses, in favor of a collection of 15 long ones. My personal selection would be Lost Valley, Spaceport, Ghost Town, Egg Gate, Luminous Forest, Green Hill, Park Avenue, Sunset Heights, Network Terminal, Death Egg, Metropolitan Highway, Null Space, Mortar Canyon, and Final Judgment. This list gets rid of some unnecessary stages like Prison Hall, Arsenal Pyramid, most of the classic Sonic stages, and leans more toward modern Sonic's levels, as he has the most interesting gameplay. Obviously, we're not counting the boss battles, but if I were to get rid of some, I'd have to pick the Eggman vs. Classic Sonic boss and the Metal Sonic boss, and I'd add bosses like Chaos Zero and Shadow. But anyways, I think we've improved the gameplay as much as we can. Well, you didn't do anything. You're probably sitting in your bed dinging your butt or something. So now it's time to make the story better. Sonic Forces' story is a mess, to put it simply. It's really a shame because I think this had the potential to be one of the best Sonic stories ever. But like most things in the Sonic franchise, the execution was terrible. I won't go into the specifics of everything, but the general idea is that Eggman takes over the world, and Sonic and his friends have to work together with the help of new and returning people to take it back from Eggman and his powerful new creation, Infinite. Like I said, it sounds cool in concept, but once you actually play the game, the summary sounds made up. That's because all the things I just listed aren't realized, like, at all. Eggman taking over the world? You can hardly tell. Eggman's powerful new creation, Infinite? He's not even the final villain. We don't even know what happens to him. And Sonic and his friends? Yeah, they do nothing. So, let's fix all this. Starting with Eggman taking over the world, can we actually see it this time? Maybe we could actually see Sonic's friends struggling to fight back against Infinite over a cutscene or two. The last cutscene before the time skip could end with them all scared of Infinite and retreating to the base, which sets him up as an even bigger threat. With the Phantom Ruby, Eggman could quickly construct massive cities and power plants in his name, and yes, the Death Egg too. And the stages themselves? Well, Lost Valley for one needs a makeover. Like seriously? Sand Hill? How about smoke, ash, fire, rubble, toppled trees, crumbling greenery, the assaulted city in the distance, all slowly coming into focus throughout the level? Well, what about the same thing with classic Sonic's version of Green Hill? What if Egg Gate kept going after he fell off the fighter jet? What if the rest of the level was a race to get to a shuttle before the entire Death Egg shuts down? What if Metropolitan Highway had a second half where Sonic has to dodge crumbling buildings and avoid Eggman's forces before he gets to him? What if the entirety of a stage titled Null Space actually took place in Null Space? And these are just a couple of examples that I came up with in 10 minutes, so just imagine how much an almost double-staffed Sonic team could come up with. Next up, we've got to do something about Sonic's friends. The biggest issue is, of course, Tails. He does almost nothing but cower for basically the entire first act, so a great way to fix this would be to show that he isn't useless in the cutscenes. The first cutscene will show him trying to help Sonic, but ultimately show him being knocked out by Infinite. Also, no more Sonic help me. Tails will have a boss with Chaos Zero that has two halves. One half will have the player controlling Tails until he's caught off guard by Chaos and rendered useless for the rest of the fight. Right as Chaos is about to land another hit on Tails, Classic Sonic shows up like normal, and is who the player controls for the rest of the boss. Now, I know, Tails beats Chaos 4 in Adventure 1, but I'll get back to that in a bit. For now, we need to fix the rest of Sonic's friends. They need to be able to function just like they would without Sonic, like in the rest of the games, so for most of the game, they won't know that he's alive. They'll also all have their own missions that they need to complete to take back the world, so I'll be making some major plot point changes to make this happen. To start off my version, Knuckles will need to get to Angel Island and take back the Master Emerald, which was taken by Eggman after the rest of the cast retreated. Rouge will need to take 6 of the Chaos Emeralds back from Eggman, while Team Chaotix tries to track down where the 7th one went. Silver and Amy will both be dedicated to stopping any small Eggman attacks and clearing his forces, which will be a nice reunion for them after 06. Tails will juggle trying to not only fix Omega, but also gather intel on Eggman's plans with the help of Classic Sonic. But after Shadow joins the team halfway through the story, it's revealed that he'd been keeping the green Chaos Emerald safe from Eggman. Shadow will then help Amy and Silver with clearing more of Eggman's forces. At the very end, the cast gives Sonic the Chaos Emeralds, and he shares his super form with Classic Sonic and the Avatar as they take on Infinite's final form. Speaking of that, we need to fix Infinite. This guy was heavily underutilized in this game. I think he should be a main part of stages like Metropolitan Highway, Sunset Heights, and Mortar Canyon. He should be able to warp the stages, and with this, transform the layout of them into a more challenging part. Like the Doom Zones, except they're actually hard. His bosses should also be heavily buffed as you progress through the story. The first one can be kept as is, but the one with the Avatar should be a noticeable step up from the original version. For example, you could beat the first 3 phases, but then the game transitions into another 3 phases, this time in 3D. And its final boss? I want this to be the hardest boss in the history of Sonic. We're talking Master King Coco Trials level difficulty. I want to see Infinite transform throughout the boss, until not even Sonic can beat him alone. This would lead to the Chaos Emeralds and him sharing his super form. This would be the final boss. No Sonic Colors ripoff this time. This time, it's a battle to the death with Infinite in null space. Now tell me that wouldn't be better than the original ending. Also, the Phantom Ruby should be able to make the copies of past villains more powerful. This would be how Tails loses to Chaos Zero and would add more tension to Eggman's plan. But yeah, this is honestly the best I could do while keeping the main plot relatively the same. I think this would make the game way better narratively and would make Sonic's friends actually useful. But anyways, now it's time to go into more quality of life changes. Starting with, basically, more story, specifically more fleshed out concepts. Things like null space, which was hardly utilized, should at least have its own stage. Yeah, sure, it's supposed to be a space with nothing, but come on, this is a video game, not a movie. I want to play in null space, not double boost through it. Also, I don't want to sound weird, but where is tortured Sonic? He looks just fine to me. I mean, they didn't even try to alter his model. That's literally the exact same dude who was supposedly tortured for months on end. I mean, come on, make him a little serious or something. Give him a bit of a deeper, shakier voice, not like Frontiers, and give him an idle animation where he twitches or snaps his head around. Give him his quills from Boom or something. Anything. I don't know. Another thing, Episode Shadow. Now, I know we just got Shadow Gens, but that's all the more reason to add some things from that game here. Like the Chaos Spear. Lengthen the levels a bit too, maybe even add a stage that's completely unique to Shadow. Sprinkle some references from Shadow Gens in there, I'm looking at you, Ian Flynn. Also, fix the Infinite retcon from the actual game. I'm not gonna explain it, if you wanna know, go look it up or something. I'd actually prefer Infinite being an actual person who is transformed, but that's just me. Cutscenes! Sonic Forces needs more of these. Most information in this game is told through these voice-acted dialogue boxes in the world map, which is not practical because 1, the player most likely skip these and miss out on important story details, and 2, they're boring, so I don't blame those people. I was one of them. Sonic Team has the budget now for more cutscenes that are expressive, so why not just keep the ones that they have, tweak them a bit, and add new ones? Sure, they might need to re-record voice lines, but so what? Sonic Team already has most of the same voice actors, and the ones that they don't have already been replaced with new ones that don't sound all that different. The final minor thing I want changed are the graphics, and the reason why is really simple. In 2017, the Hedgehog Engine 2 looked like this, and now it looks like this. Just keep the graphics from Shadow Gens and move it over to Forces, it'd look beautiful. Oh, also, if we're using the graphics from Shadow Gens, we might as well steal the models from there too. Apparently, the next mainline game is using Unreal Engine, but like, why? You had some of the best stylized graphics in this series just a couple of years ago, why not just use that? No, this isn't about Sonic Forces anymore. So, that wraps up my hypothetical Sonic Forces remake. With all these changes, this game could transform from a nothing burger to one of the best burgers that you've ever eaten. But do I think this will happen anytime soon? Unfortunately, no. Sonic Team's made it clear that they aren't focusing on remasters as much anymore, and that mainline games will be a priority. Plus, if they ever were to remake a game, they'd probably choose a game that people actually want, like the adventure games or 06 or something. But anyways, if you stayed this long, thanks so much for watching. Come back next week for another video at this exact same time. Maybe like and subscribe. Bye.